So welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily News in Shorts. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs in a short span of time. Needless to say that you will forget these current affairs which you have just watched if you do not revise this lecture. So just after watching it, you have to revise it from the notes provided by us on our Telegram channel. Okay, do not forget to revise. Let's begin today's discussion. But first, let's take a look at the list of topics that we shall cover today. Okay, so let's begin. So daily current affairs, 12th September, Friday, and here is the topics list. Okay, so there was this article in the Indian Express Explained section about Indus Water Treaty and India's strategy now. Okay, so we will talk about this. We will again revise. We have discussed Indus Water Treaty many times in the past, okay, in various current affairs lectures. But we will revise it again. Okay, and we'll talk about India's strategy. The second topic is with respect to Semaglutide, which was an anti-diabetes medication, but now is being used for weight loss. Okay, we'll talk about its benefits and its disadvantages. Okay, so this. Then, well, on September 21st or 22nd, we will see a rare phenomena. Okay, extremely rare phenomena which happens every 13 to 15 years. And that is Saturn's ring crossing, where the rings of Saturn, the planet Saturn, disappears. Okay, so we'll talk about this. And in the end, we'll talk about Swami Vivekananda's Chicago speech. Okay, 11th September 1893, Swami Vivekananda basically introduced the world, especially USA, to Hinduism and a basic Hindu philosophy called Vedanta. So Vedanta or various Indian philosophies are part of your syllabus of art and culture. Therefore, we will discuss this Vedanta philosophy and the significance of this speech delivered by Swami Vivekananda, well, in 1893. Make sense? Okay, because September 11 marks the anniversary of this landmark event, where the world got introduced to ancient Indian culture. So we'll talk about this fourth news item as well. Clear? So these are the four news items that we shall zero in our attention on. So let's start discussing them one by one, starting with topic number one, and that is Indus Water Treaty and strategy. Now look, you already know this, okay? You know, you don't need any introduction on this, that what is Indus Water Treaty. Okay, Indus Water Treaty is basically a water sharing arrangement of Indus and its tributaries, okay, that pass from India to Pakistan. It is a water sharing arrangement between India and Pakistan. Clear? So we will quickly revise the basic features of this treaty, okay, and then we'll talk about India and Pakistan's strategy. Clear? So let's go through this entire treaty again because questions can be asked. So there is no harm in revising this treaty again. All right? Okay. So Indus Water Treaty and strategy. So as you can look on this map, well, Indus Water Treaty, basically, what is it? Indus River, Jhelum, Chenab, Satluj, Beas, Ravi. Okay, so these are the rivers that are flowing from India to Pakistan. And the sharing of these waters between India and Pakistan, okay, is Indus Water Treaty. Now you need to be aware of few terms. Because water flows from India to Pakistan, that is why in this case, India is known as the upper riparian state. Because water is flowing from India to Pakistan. And Pakistan receives this water, so Pakistan is called lower riparian. Remember these keywords? Keywords are important for your mains answers as well. If your answers are loaded with keywords, your answers look more academic, more enhanced. Okay, so make sure you mention keywords in your answer. So upper riparian and lower riparian are these keywords. Remember this. In Indus Water Treaty, India is the upper riparian country, whereas Pakistan is the lower riparian country. Okay, now let's talk about the basic features. So it was between India and Pakistan for sharing of waters in the Indus River system. Okay, what are India's rights? Unrestricted access to eastern rivers. What are these eastern rivers? The rivers in orange. Okay, Satluj, Beas, Ravi. So India has unlimited, unrestricted access to these rivers. Pakistan has access to western rivers which are Indus, Jhelum and Chenab. Clear? So Pakistan has access to western rivers. Now remember this. if we calculate the amount of water flowing in these rivers by volume, India got 20% of the waters, Pakistan got 80% of the waters. Okay, that is why many in India have been saying or have been telling Pakistan for many years. Before Operation Sindoor, India was asking Pakistan to renegotiate this treaty because many in India feel that this treaty was unfair because India was getting 20% and Pakistan was getting 80%. But back in the day, this treaty was signed in 1960 between Nehru and Ayub Khan of Pakistan. Well, Nehru, when it was asked from Nehru that why have you given 80% access to Pakistan? Well, Nehru said that this is the price to pay for peace in this region. Okay, that was the idea. That is why we gave 80% to Pakistan. Nonetheless, okay, remember this one more thing also, very important. Well, yes, Pakistan got access to western rivers, of course. But that doesn't mean that India cannot use western rivers. India can use western rivers in non-consumptive way. What do you mean by non-consumptive way? Well, India can use the force of water flow to produce electricity, create hydroelectric projects on these western rivers. But they cannot consume this water. They have to let it flow to Pakistan. Okay? But we can use this. Make sense? Okay? Now, some more facts. Indus Water Treaty was signed in 1960 and it was brokered by World Bank. So World Bank mediated India and Pakistan. Okay. Now, there is another body established to ensure implementation of this treaty. Okay. And resolve disputes between India and Pakistan with respect to water sharing. Okay. So there was a permanent Indus Commission that was established which was responsible for implementation of this treaty. Commissioners from both India and Pakistan would be appointed to this permanent Indus Commission. In case there is a dispute between the two countries with respect to water sharing, well, there was a 3-tier process. Okay. In first tier, the dispute would go to permanent Indus Commission. Okay. If permanent Indus Commission cannot resolve the dispute, then the dispute would go to a neutral expert appointed. Neutral expert won't be from India or Pakistan. He would be a neutral expert. And if neutral expert is also unable to resolve this issue, then the dispute would go to International Court of Arbitration. So this is the 3-tier process. Now the thing is, you all know that since Operation Sindoor, we have put Indus Water Treaty in abeyance. We all know this. But even before putting this treaty in abeyance, we have been repeatedly asking Pakistan to renegotiate this treaty. Okay? And there are various reasons also. Well, as you all know that India has some rights over western rivers as well. Non-consumptive usage rights, right? But whenever India used to create or construct a hydroelectric project for this non-consumptive use on Chenab, Jhelum or Indus, well, Pakistan used to raise a dispute. That dispute used to go to Permanent Indus Commission, then Neutral Expert, then Court of Arbitration. And through this, our projects got delayed because they were stuck in dispute resolution. Pakistan was deliberately employing this tactic to delay our projects on these rivers. Right? They were using this treaty or the dispute resolution mechanism in this treaty. And that is why India was really angry with Pakistan. Okay? Really angry and was asking to renegotiate this treaty. But now, because of Operation Sindoor and Pahalgam terror attack, we have put this treaty in abeyance. Now we have no such obligation, no obligation. Okay, we can use western or eastern rivers the way we want. Make sense? Okay. Now, this treaty is known as one of the most successful treaties. Okay, why? This is one such international treaty which has survived so many wars, so many conflicts. Generally, whenever there is a war between two countries, well, they abandon all their treaties. But despite so much tension between India and Pakistan since 1960, this treaty has survived. But not anymore. This treaty could not survive Pahalgam terror attack. But this treaty survived. And the credit for the survival of this treaty goes to India only. Not Pakistan, India only. And why so? Well, simply put, The reason why credit only goes to India is because India is an upper riparian state. Whenever there is a water sharing arrangement between two parties, the upper riparian party has more responsibilities. Lower riparian has no responsibility. Lower riparian is just there to receive water. It is upper riparian state that has to ensure that water flows unrestricted in an unrestricted way. Water data is shared. Every obligation is that of upper riparian. India never deviated from its responsibility despite so many wars. So credit goes entirely to India. Now, the thing is, what will happen now? Now that this treaty has been put in abeyance, so what will we do now? What will happen now? The thing is that now Pakistan is saying, okay, let's renegotiate this treaty. But Pakistan knows that, well, if this matter is only bilateral, that is between India and Pakistan, well, they will have to listen to India. That is why Pakistan is trying to get external actors in. How? First of all, this treaty was brokered by World Bank. So Pakistan is trying to bring in World Bank, okay, which India refuses. India says no third party would come. Then Pakistan is saying, as you can see on this map, Indus River comes from China. So China is also part of Indus Basin. Plus, there is a river that comes from Afghanistan that meets Indus River called Kabul River. So, in a way, Afghanistan is also part of Indus River Basin. So, Pakistan has been saying that let's create a joint treaty which contains China and Afghanistan also, so that all these countries put pressure on India. Okay, so other countries are being wooed for this treaty. India has categorically refused that. And now that this treaty has been put in abeyance, well, what India's view is, India's strategy is, it will share water, data and all these things, but now it is not obligated to Pakistan. So it will do its job, it will fulfill its responsibilities as an upper riparian state, okay, as much as possible. But it is not bound by Pakistan, and now Pakistan cannot delay infrastructure projects on western rivers. Clear? So this is the way forward. Whereas Pakistan is really panicking because these waters are its lifeline. Let's see what happens in future. By the way, experts are saying that, well, this issue, this water issue, will be as important as terrorism in J&K as far as relationship between India and Pakistan is concerned. So it's a big issue. Okay, remember this. All right? Okay. Now let's quickly shift our focus to semaglutide, issues with semaglutide. Okay. Now, what is the thing? The thing is that semaglutide is basically a drug, okay, which is sold as an anti-diabetes medication, okay, with different brand names. So different companies are selling this drug semaglutide in different brand names, with different brand names for anti-diabetes. Ozempic is one brand name, Wegovy is one brand name, and there are so many others. Okay. Basically, these companies sell semaglutide as an anti-diabetes medication. It controls sugar. But recent research has found that semaglutide is a very good weight loss drug. It can be used for obese people who are obese, to reduce their weight. And it has been approved in USA, in India and many other countries. And now, well, doctors are prescribing semaglutide to all those people who are suffering from obesity. Now, this brings into question how semaglutide is. What is semaglutide? Okay, what is semaglutide? What are its benefits? And are there any disadvantages? Can we solely rely on semaglutide and completely abandon exercise and diet, everything? Just go for this magic pill and that would be all. Can we do this? Or does this magic pill has some disadvantages? We have to talk about this because this semaglutide drug, this weight loss drug, is a revolution in the world. Clear? So let's talk about issues with semaglutide. Okay. So semaglutide, well, is basically belongs to a class of drugs which are known as, these class of drugs are known as GLP-1 receptor agonists. Okay, so there is a group of drugs called GLP-1 receptor agonists. Semaglutide is just a part of it. GLP also has a full form, but no need to remember it. Okay. Now, these drugs were earlier used for anti-diabetes. But now will be used for weight loss as well. Now, here is the thing, and this is very important for you to remember. Okay, weight loss drugs has a market. Okay, in India, this market is around 600 crores. Okay, 600 crore is the market size of weight loss drugs and weight loss medications. Clear? As of June 2025. Of this 600 crores, 75% share now belongs to this semaglutide. It has quickly captured 75% share. Earlier, this market was dominated, especially in India. Earlier, this market was dominated by diet, some Ayurvedic pills, some naturopathy pills, but now semaglutide is quickly and surely capturing this marketing space. Now, people are more and more dependent on this magic pill. Clear? So the question is this magic pill actually a magic pill? Because it is capturing the imagination of everyone. So what is semaglutide? Listen to me carefully, okay? Remember, more and more people are using it and its share is going to increase further from 75% because currently this medicine is very expensive because there is a patent on it. In 2026, this patent is going to expire. Okay, this patent is going to expire and then generic drugs of semaglutide will be available in the market and generic medicines are very cheap. So more and more people would buy this. So we have to investigate this, okay? So yes. By the way, India has a dual burden. Let me mention this also. In India, there is problem of malnourishment where people do not have enough food, okay? And ironically, there is this big problem of obesity where people have too much food. So India suffers from both these problems. Lack of availability of food and too much consumption of food. Okay. Now for obesity, the magic drug is semaglutide. Okay. Now, by the way, semaglutide. So it belongs to, I have told this to you, class of GLP-1 receptor agonist drugs. Okay. Now, what do these drugs do? GLP-1 receptor agonists. They basically mimic the actions of a hormone in your body. So, there is a hormone in your body called GLP-1. When GLP-1 hormone is secreted in your body, well, it increases the secretion of insulin, okay, which lowers your blood sugar level. It reduces the secretion of glucagon, which increases blood sugar. So it reduces glucagon. It slows your digestion so that you feel full. You don't feel hungry for longer periods of time. So you don't eat that much, right? That's what GLP-1 does. And that is why, because it increases in insulin, well, your sugar levels come down. But because it slows down your digestion, it also makes you consume less food. Okay, so that is why it is used as weight loss drug. Okay, mixed action of GLP hormone. Earlier used for type 2 diabetes, now used for weight loss as well. It comes under various brand names: Ozempic, Wegovy, Rybelis. Okay, now it is not a magic pill. Many people are taking this pill, and many people are saying that yes, it is a magic pill. Just consume this, take this one medicine, and you will be fit. But that's not the case. Okay, it has many problems. First of all, taking this pill should also be accompanied with some lifestyle changes, some changes in diet and exercise also. Plus, there is one problem. As soon as you give up on this medicine, as soon as you stop taking this medicine, your weight increases back again dramatically. Will you be addicted to this medicine for life? Because as soon as you will stop it, your weight will come back soon. That is why diet and exercise is a long-term solution. Nonetheless, this is a problem. Plus, It is not a universal solution because it doesn't work for everyone. So this is a problem. Plus, there are many health side effects also. Some people have complained gastric problems, constipation. Okay, in some people, the reaction side effects have been severe. Kidney problems, gallbladder problems have come out. Okay, so there are some health-based side effects. Plus, many people have complained that if you are too much dependent on this medicine, it would lead to muscle loss. Yes, your weight would come down, but your muscle mass would also come down. And that is not good for people. Clear? Now, the thing is that this is not a magic pill. Yet, it can be taken. It is being taken by people. But this drug, or too much dependency on this drug, has other problems also. Okay, there are many problems associated with too much consumption of this drug. What are those problems? First of all, we have talked about health-based side effects. Okay, kidney problems, gallbladder problems, everything. Plus, it is an economic burden also. Why? If you are on this semaglutide regime, in consultation with your doctor, of course, okay, to reduce around 15 kgs in 1 year. Just a second. To reduce 15 kgs in 1 year, your expenses would be 2 lakh rupees. You have to spend 2 lakh rupees to reduce 15 kgs in 1 year. This is how costly this semaglutide based regime is. Okay. Plus, most of semaglutide formulations in India are imported, so it would increase our import burden also. Then, currently government is tackling obesity. But how is it tackling obesity? Well, it is tackling obesity by various public health campaigns, promoting exercise, diet, and so much. So many things. Government is doing that. If more and more people would prefer semaglutide, don't you think government's resources would be diverted towards this? And public health campaigns like health, exercise, all this would be ignored, which is the long-term solution. So, diversion of public resources. Plus, the thing is, this drug should be consumed in consultation with your doctor, right? It should be done like that. But you all know this, that in India, this thing is misused. People don't consult a doctor, they just go to the chemist and buy this drug. It is known as over-the-counter consumption. Over-the-counter misuse is big. Plus, now medicines are available online. Without prescription, people can, there are so many unethical ways through which you can bypass doctor's prescription in India. So, more and more people would use semaglutide. Okay, more dependency would be there. Because India does not regulate the drug market properly. Because there is OTC misuse. Chemists can sell drugs without doctor's prescription. This is a problem in India. Plus, rural, urban and class divide. Because this drug is accessible only because it's expensive. So, it's accessible only to rich people of urban areas or some rural elites. Rural poor, urban poor do not have access to this. And because now more and more public resources would be diverted towards semaglutide, there would be less money for cheap options like diet and exercise. So the problem of obesity or health problems would persist in rural areas, urban poor areas, because now government is more focused on semaglutide and semaglutide is not available to poor people. So there will be a class divide also. So these are the problems. Okay, make sure, because I am foreseeing there is a very high probability that a question can be asked on semaglutide. Very high chances. So remember these negative consequences also. Okay, and now let's quickly shift our focus to Saturn's ring crossing. Okay, now you all know Saturn is the 6th planet from Sun in our solar system. Okay, and it is a far off planet. Plus, there are various features of Saturn. Okay, we'll talk about those features. But every 15 years or 13 to 15 years, Earth and Saturn are aligned in such a way that Saturn's rings disappear. They don't actually disappear. They disappear when viewed from Earth. There is an optical illusion. It is kind of an optical illusion. They are aligned in such a way, okay, in that plane, where when you view Saturn from Earth, those rings either appear very thin or they disappear completely, and then they will reappear again. But this phenomena occurs every 15 years, 13 to 15 years. This phenomena is known as Saturn's ring crossing. Clear? Generally what happens is that Earth comes in directly in between Sun and Saturn. Earth directly comes in between that. And the plane of viewing is such that Saturn's rings completely disappear. Okay, so we will talk about this phenomena, ring crossing, and we will talk about certain features of Saturn that you should be aware of. Okay, it's a very small topic. So Saturn's ring crossing. As you can see, when generally you view from a telescope, when you take a look at Saturn from a telescope on Earth, it appears like this. But if both Saturn and Earth are aligned in such a way, their orbits are aligned in such a way that Saturn appears like this. As you can see, this ring appears very thin or it completely disappears. Right? This is known as ring crossing. And it happens every 13 to 15 years. Okay? So remember this. That's about it as far as this topic is concerned. I just wanted to introduce you to this phenomena called ring crossing. So remember this, an MCQ might be created out of this. By the way, you need to be aware of certain features of Saturn. Okay, so let's talk about it. So Saturn's position, 6th planet from Sun. Its size, 2nd largest planet in solar system. Diameter about 9.5 times that of Earth. Now, Saturn is a gas giant. It is mainly composed of hydrogen and helium gas, the light gases. That is why Saturn's density is very low. Okay, it is the least dense planet in our solar system. In fact, if you can do this, if you can manage this, that if you put Saturn in a tub of water, it will float because it is very less dense, very light, because mostly it is composed of hydrogen and helium. Okay, it has rings, it has many moons, 83 confirmed moons. The most famous one is the moon called Titan, Saturn's moon. Okay, orbital period, it takes around 29.5 years to complete one revolution of Sun. Rotation is there. Now this planet is named after a Roman god called Saturn, which was the god of agriculture. So these are some of the basic facts, just remember them. Alright, and now we will talk about last news item, and that is Swami Vivekananda's Chicago speech. Okay, now listen to me carefully. Well, September 11 marks the anniversary of a historical event. In 1893, September 11, World Parliament of Religions was held in Chicago, USA. Religions from all over the world were called. Experts in those religions were called. And over there, discussions were held over the best idea for future. Okay, best possible way for humanity. So religions were debating each other. In that World Parliament of Religions, Swami Vivekananda went from India representing Hinduism, and he began his speech with Sisters and Brothers of America. That was a little different because generally, well, the world was used to ladies and gentlemen, but he started with Sisters and Brothers of America, and then he gave this absolutely stellar speech which put Hinduism on the map of the world. Basically, it introduced the West with ideas of Hinduism. Earlier, they understood Hinduism from the eyes of British, the way British told that story. But Swami Vivekananda drew a picture of Hinduism. Okay? And America got introduced to Hinduism, especially one Hindu philosophy called Vedanta, which was derived from Upanishads. Clear? That was the impact of his speech, and well, Vedanta philosophy became very famous in America. It started with his speech though. Alright? Now you see, art and culture is part of our syllabus. And when you'll be studying ancient history, art and culture of ancient history is also important. In that, you will also study philosophies of ancient India. Okay? Shad Darshan Shastra. Buddhist philosophies are there, Jain philosophies are there, but some Hindu philosophies are also there. 6 philosophies. One such philosophy is Vedanta, which Swami Vivekananda represented. Now, because this is part of your syllabus, we have to study it. So our entire focus would be mostly on Vedanta. Clear? But we'll cover it briefly because we will cover it in art and culture. Alright? So this is the thing. Swami Vivekananda's Chicago speech. Okay? As you can see, he's there, Jewish rabbis are there, many other religions are there in this World Parliament of Religions, Chicago 1893. This is Swami Vivekananda. Okay. Now, about Vedanta. So, it is a major school of Hindu philosophy based on the teachings of Upanishads. Upanishads are the end of Vedas, the last part of Vedas. That is why it is known as Vedanta. Ant means end. Now, some key concepts of Vedanta philosophy. It believes that there is a universal soul, a God, universal being called Brahman, and all of us individuals have an individual soul called Atman. Okay, Brahman, Atman. Clear? The ultimate goal of every individual is to, well, merge with Brahman, the universal consciousness. Clear? That's their idea. By the way, they say that, well, there is one God, there is one universal being, but you see multiplicity, you see multiple characters, different things in the world. That is an illusion called Maya. And when you ignore this basic reality that everything is one, that is avidya. Okay? That means you don't know. Now, the fundamental idea of Vedanta philosophy is to break this cycle of avidya and Maya and achieve enlightenment called mukti. They also believe in cyclical phases of time. Okay, yugas, Satyug, Dwapar Yug, Kali Yug, all these things. Okay, Treta Yug, and so on. Cyclical moving of time, like a wheel. This is their philosophy. Now, Vedanta philosophy has various branches as well. Okay, major schools within Vedanta philosophy. Number one is Advaita Vedanta. That means Brahma, universal soul, and individual soul Atma are one and the same thing. It was given by Adi Shankaracharya, and Vivekananda belonged to this school. Then Vishishta Advaita, it was given by Ramanuja. It says that Maya, illusion, and soul are two different. But yes, Advaita Vedanta says even Maya is also part of Brahman. But they say no, Maya is different. But the ultimate objective of Atma is to merge with Brahma. Vishishta Advaita, Dvaita Advaita, which says Brahman and Atman are different, Madhavacharya. Then there are other schools as well. Dvaita Advaita, given by Nimbarka. Just remember the name. Just remember the names, okay? You don't need to remember. Just remember one line of description and the names of these schools and who founded these schools. So, Dvaita Advaita was founded by Nimbarka. Shuddha Advaita was founded by Vallabhacharya. And Achintya Bheda Bhed was basically founded by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, it is given in your notes. So, just read that. By the way, you'll study this in detail in your lectures. Okay, art and culture lectures. That would be all. With that, we conclude today's session. So, thank you so much for watching, everyone. And I'm sure it has added value to your preparation. So, I'll conclude now. And I promise to see you next time with another set of news items. Thank you, everyone.